Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Painless Universal, a conversation with myself and Welsh. Today I'll be talking about body confidence and women joy. How can women overcome pain of not being enough to find our own joy? My guest today, Nathalie will be telling me about her own journey of living in Lebanon, where she was always constantly battling her own inner security. Was she good enough? Was she worthy? Was she being woman enough? To ask the question, what does it truly mean to find your own joy? She is on a mission now to help women awaken their inner goddess and stop denying their natural instincts towards pleasure and beauty. She was born and raised in Lebanon within a society that dictates how a woman should look and feel and think and act, where she practiced clinical psychologist. She's always been passionate about happiness, health, and well-being from a very young age. And she then moved to the United States, where she used her talent as a health and wellness coach and plant-based chef to help her clients break through the struggle and self-loathing that keeps women tied to the obsession and painful pursuits. I love that, of the perfect body. Guys, does that truly exist? I think it's something we should all ask ourselves. Does the perfect body truly exist? Especially as women, we evolve so much. When we get pregnant, the body changes in so many ways, and sometimes it never returns back to original position. So that's why it's so important that as women, we learn to love who we are. The heart of Natalie's approach is both simple and powerful. Become your beautiful goddess self by choosing pleasure instead of pain, self-love instead of hate. She has a book out, which we'll also be talking about, and it's called The Awakened Goddess Detox. She shared her personal story of how she's overcome her own struggle, offering an insight examination of her current situation on diet and detox. Cultured with the 8 inspiring practice for awakening to a new relationship with food and life. Her 7-day detox, food of luxurious Middle Eastern recipe, is themed with adventures that would suit anyone. Well, I am super delighted she's taking the time out to speak to us. Let's understand how we women can look and feel great, but at the same time, it doesn't matter what shape, what race, wherever we're from, find our joy. Meet Nathalie. So, hello everyone, and welcome to Painless Universal, a conversation with myself and Welsh. Today I'll be talking to the amazing guest, Nathalie. She'll be telling me about her own journey and why she found her joy. She's a woman who believes in women power and empowering women through her different aspects. Let's meet Nathalie. How are you?
I'm doing really great. Thank you so much for having me. I really feel honored to be with you today and talk to you and to your audience. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for joining me. You are truly an amazing woman. You've lived in Lebanon and you now live in the United States. But what's so fascinating about you is that throughout your journey of life, you've always looked at life and found meaning in everywhere you've gone. You've not looked at it and say, "Oh my goodness, I was disadvantaged here, but I will stop here." No, you looked at this. Okay, this happened here. How can I heal and make this place a better place? But before we go to all of that journey of yours, can you just tell us a little bit about who you are?
Okay, so where should I start? I always like to start by saying that I'm a mother of 2 beautiful girls, Divina and Ivana. My name is Nathalie Seder. I was born and raised in Lebanon, in the Middle East. And being born and raised in the Middle East and in Lebanon comes with lots of challenges, especially when you're a woman. I mean, it's starting to get better right now, but back in the days, it was a little bit more challenging to find your voice and to express yourself in a world that tells you how to look like and what to say and how to act and how to behave. So it was a little bit limiting, but I was always a rebel. since I was like a little child, a little kid, I always felt like, no, I have my own place in this world and I need to express myself the way I want to express myself. I always felt that I couldn't be limited by being a girl or being a woman, because this is not a limitation. And I remember I used to tell my father, you know, when they used to say, oh, you cannot be late, you need to come back at home by 6 p.m. before the sun goes down. And I used to see my cousins who were like boys and they could come back whenever they want. And it was like super innocent. We were kids, we were playing, it was in the village. And I was like maybe 8 or 9 years old. And I was asking like, why? Why me? I should come back. I was having fun, I was playing. Why can boys stay late outside the house and I have to come back? What's wrong with me? Like at the beginning, you begin to think like there's something wrong with me being a girl. And then you realize there's nothing wrong with me. And then you start questioning, you start saying no. And I was one of those girls who said no since like a very, very early age. And I said, no, there's nothing wrong about that. Even if I'm a girl, what's wrong with being a girl? What's the difference? And I started, you know, challenging my parents. And I think my parents started changing little by little. So we can change our parents. We don't have, if our parents come from a place where they have been taught that, you know, they have limitations, we can be that person in the family who cut the cords with those disbeliefs and start a new path for ourselves and for our kids.
I love that.
And yeah, and I never felt limited by my circumstances. I grew up in a very poor family. I know what does it feel like to be hungry and to go to bed hungry. And I was raised in a very, very challenging household. We had also, like, my parents had a lot of, you know, dysfunctional relationships. And today I feel very grateful about that. I don't feel resentment or anger or anything like that in my heart. I made peace with it, because from this contrast, I could build the person I am today, and I'm still working on it. And this is how I can help other people nowadays, by being a psychologist and a life coach, from my own struggles and the way I use my own struggles and challenges to build, to create something beautiful out of it.
That's really good.
I feel like I can give hope to others that no matter your circumstances, even if you are born in a very challenging family, like poor, like no financially challenging, relationship-wise challenging, anything, you can change that. This is not, it doesn't have to be your life forever. It's not a death sentence. You can change that. And I didn't do much as a little girl, but I always used to believe that this is not my life. I was born in this, but this is not gonna be my life. I didn't know where I got that wisdom from, being that little girl, but I always had this faith inside of me that this is not my life. And I really remember my dad telling me, stop dreaming big. He used to tell me that, stop, because he was worried. He didn't want me to like dream big. He wanted to keep me safe, like dream big. And then we are poor. How I'm gonna provide you with the things you're dreaming about? And he used to tell me, stop dreaming big. We are poor. And I still remember telling him, maybe at 8 years or 9 years old, yes, you are poor. I am not. Wow. I used to feel rich and abundant even without the money. Wow. It was a mindset and an energy, and that manifested later in my life.
But you know, you said something so crucial there, your mindset about the money. Because I think so many people think it's about just having the money, but it's also about changing your life mindset as well. Because your mindset needs to first believe something. Even though it's not really there, you don't have access to it. If you believe something, then you can start working towards what you believe in, start getting that. And I love how you just said it, you know, I really love it, because very few people see it that way. They always think, oh, I need the money to do this, I need the money to get to B. Yeah, you do need the money, but sometimes you need to program your mindset in such a positive way that you're on your mind and all you think is that, and then that thing tends to start to happen. But a key thing I you know, when I read your bio, one thing I loved about you, and you said, growing up in Lebanon, I always felt like I had to be on this survival mode because as a young child, you just said it briefly that you didn't come from family that were wealthy. So what do you mean by that? That you had to always be on survival mode, and how did that survival mode help you?
Yeah, so being in a survival mode, especially in Lebanon, because I survived many wars growing up. So we were living under bombs, and you were just waiting to die or not to die. So you were like, we couldn't have, anything that's, we couldn't think of anything else than surviving because it was a war zone.
Yes.
So, and this is why I also grew up appreciating everything that I have, because when you are in a war zone and you're like so holding on to life and you don't want to die, you start like really appreciating life.
That's true.
But at the same time, you live in a survival mode. You want just to survive, so you don't have this opportunity or this space where you can think about like your growth, or you can think about how I'm gonna improve myself or work on myself, because your needs, your basic needs, are barely met. So I lived in that survival mode for a long time, not only because of war, but also because of dysfunctional relationships in my family, where like there was a lot of physical abuse and emotional abuse. So I had to find a place to first meet my basic needs to survive.
So what led you to the passion of human happiness and health and wellness?
Well, when you live in contrast, and the contrast is that big and immense and huge, it creates in you a desire that's opposite. Like when the contrast is so challenging and it's so hard, it creates a desire of the same intensity of something that's not like that. When you live in a dysfunctional family, you feel like, I want to create something better. I can't live with the pain. I can't live with the pain that comes with it. When you are born in a poor family, you feel like you have this desire inside of you of something that's opposite. And this is why maybe I was feeling abundant, even though we didn't have the money, because I wanted something to compensate the pain. I didn't choose to live in pain. Some people, they choose to live in pain. And I'm not going to say I didn't do it at certain times of my life. Of course I did. But my desire for something better was always overcoming that desire of just staying in the pain and living in the victim mode, because I could live in that victim mode forever. Because I did for certain period of times during my life, I lived in that victim mode. But then you feel like, no, I can't, it's over exhausting for you, and it's draining you, and it's not taking you to a better place. So then when you hit rock bottom in life, this is when you wake up and you say, I want something else. And I've always had this calling inside of me since I was a little child. Like I was always asking myself like big questions. Why are we here? Where do we come from? What is our purpose in life? And I used to ask my parents, and they used to tell me, where'd you come up with these questions? So I've always had these big questions in my mind, and I always used to ask myself, why there's a lot of pain in this world, and what can I do about it? And this is why I also studied psychology. Maybe I can help or guide people to ease their pain or to find a way around the pain. Also, like seeing my parents suffering a lot in their couple relationship, having to struggle with financial limitations. All of this created that huge desire in me to create something better, to create a better life for myself, for the people around me, for the people I can help. So, and I think I found my purpose at a very, very young age, because I was faced with so many challenges from a very, very early age.
You moved to United States, and when you moved, you started to find your own joy when you moved to United States. You said sometimes it takes another human being to make you love yourself again. Can you tell us about how you moved into the United States changed your views on life?
It was a big turning point in my life, moving to the United States. That was like so far away from where I used to live my whole life, and I never traveled before. And in Lebanon, we like now it's changing, but back in the days, like people don't travel. We don't move. We stay. We are born in a house. We stay. We live in that same house until we get married. Women, men, everybody. We live with our families until we get married. So that was a huge change for me. But because I have been through a lot of challenges in my life, I could overcome it, but it was hard. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was like very, very hard. And mentioning like loving yourself, and like sometimes you need another human being to make you love yourself. Even though I was a psychologist, I studied psychology, I had this early awakening, I was still struggling to love myself, because growing up in Lebanon, there's a lot of stigmas and dogmas around how a woman should look like. You have to always be on top of everything and look really nice and look super fit and take care of yourself all the time. If you gain weight, like people start judging you and they start telling you, oh, you gained weight, you're becoming this, you're becoming that. It's very hurtful, like deep inside. And you feel like you are in a constant competition with other women. So it was and all of this will make you love yourself less, because you feel like you're not enough, you're not worthy. There are definitely women who are prettier than you, better than you, more successful than you, more, funnier than you, everything. So you grow up with that feeling that no matter what you do, you're not enough, because there's always better. So I grew up with that mentality. And of course, I had a very little of self-love. And I didn't have the big awakening it didn't happen until I moved to the US, because over there, I was all by myself without any support system around me, no family, no friends. I didn't even speak the language back then, because I was French educated. So I was like a fish that she took out of the water and she was trying to survive again. And then I got pregnant. And back in the days when I moved to the US, I used to, not really take care of myself in the meaning, not just doing my nails and all these things, but not loving myself, not giving space for myself to be and to relax and to enjoy life. I was in a constant, I was always trying to be better, as if I'm not enough. I was always trying to have a better job, to study more, to do this, to do that, because there was this deep feeling inside of me of lack, that I'm lacking something. So I didn't really love myself. It wasn't until I got pregnant with my babies that I felt like, and I knew they were girls, and I felt like I really need to love myself.
Oh gosh, yes.
Because I'm gonna mirror that relationship that I have with myself. They're gonna see that, they're gonna feel it, even if I don't say anything, even if I say the correct words all the time. Our kids, they sense our energy, and I need to love myself for who I am, really, not only for like what people want to see in me. And this is a journey that has been taking over than 10 years now, and I'm still learning every day. And sometimes, it takes another person to make you love yourself. That was my case. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be this way. And this is why today I guide my clients, and I try to inspire people around me to really tap into self-love, because this is from where stems everything that's beautiful in life. When you love yourself and you appreciate yourself, we're not talking about loving yourself and being egoistic and arrogant. We're talking about appreciating who you are and feeling that you are worthy, no matter how you look, no matter who you are, no matter how much money you have, just appreciating your unique being that was born in this world for a purpose. We all have a purpose in this world. Absolutely. So,
yeah. Natalie, I think you're very right there. It's all about finding that love. But what I love so much about what you just said is about, once when you found that you were pregnant and you found that there were even so there were girls, girls tend to mirror what their mothers are doing, and if their mother's not happy, you can see that characteristic. I won't say even boys do that, but girls so much because they want to be like you. They want to paint their nails, they want to put the lipstick on, they want to do all that. And when they see you don't have that confidence, that actually transpires to them as well. And love that you started to find your own awakening, and that takes me to your book. You're not only a coach right now, but you're an author, and you've written a book called The Awakened Goddess and Awakened Goddess Detox. And
Mhm.
now I've read some bits about the book, and I see you really out there to really inspire women to awaken what's hidden inside them, to give them, let them find their passion again, and to empower women to awaken the goddess within themselves. So whatever is within you, wake it up so you can find your joy again. What led you to write this book, and especially that very beautiful title you called it? And do you have a copy to
Thank you.
for us?
Yes, thank you. I had always this message, this narrative inside of me that I wanted to share with other people. And I used to share it like through Instagram, through some videos that I used to, share with other people. But there's a lot more to share. So that's why I needed a book to do that. And I had this idea to write my experience with how, like, my relationship with my body and the food. And it was really like a struggle, like the relationship with the food, because as I told you, in Lebanon, I was born around women who were always dieting. Like, women in Lebanon, even now, they are constantly dieting. They are constantly starving themselves. They go from a diet to another, to another, to another. Pills, anything you can think of, just to look in a certain way. And sometimes, even when they lose the weight, they feel like it's not enough. There's a lot of eating disorder, dysfunctional image, body image. There's a lot of things going on. And I always had this message inside of me because I feel their pain. I've been there. And I'm not there anymore. At least, of course, I'm not 100%. Nobody ever is. The work is never done, right? But I have traveled this journey, and I've came to a place where I really accept myself the way I am, even when I gain weight. Because after my daughters, I gained weight. I gained like 25. Now I'm 25 pounds more than when I was 4 years ago. Yeah. Am I gonna hate myself for that? I'm gonna feel like I'm not worthy or I'm not beautiful anymore? If that was the person like 10 years ago, like the person who I was 10 years ago, yeah. I'm gonna feel like I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, I'm ugly, I'm not worthy of any love, of any good relationship in my life. And guess what? This is exactly what was going on in my life back then. When I used to think I'm not worthy because I don't look in a certain way, I need to lose that weight. Until then, I'm not worth it. And it's all like the internal dialogue is not always conscious to you. Like you're not always aware that this is really happening inside of you, but it's constantly happening, and it's constantly on repeat. Oh, you look in the mirror. Oh, I look so ugly. I look so fat. I look this. I look that. I'm not enough. Oh, I hate myself. So we keep saying those words without even realizing we're doing it. And it was my case back then. And guess what? I was attracting those kind of relationships that used to prove that, yeah, you're not worthy. You're not beautiful enough. You're not this enough. You're not that enough. So I was attracting to my life those kind of relationships that were toxic because I had a toxic relationship with myself. Yeah. So I wanted to write this book to help liberate women, just like I was trying to liberate myself from that burden of always like and constantly being so focused on how we should look and be because the society or because this and that they want us to look or be in a certain way. And there's a lot of freedom that comes with just being yourself and the way you want to be that has nothing to do maybe with what society wants from you.
Sure.
There's a lot of freedom, and this is when you start being your true self, and this is when you start finding your purpose, and this is when you start shining from the inside out, even if you gain weight.
Yeah.
And even if you're whatever, not following the trends, or you start shining and people will start asking you, "Oh, you are glowing, what are you doing?" And you're not necessarily doing anything other than appreciating and accepting what you already have and who you already are.
Yes.
So I always wanted to write this book to tell people that first, the diet culture has messed up our mind and our brain, and there's really no like one size fits all diet, and there's really no magical diet out there, because it feels like we're all waiting for that magical diet or that magical solution, and we feel like, oh, this is when, if I follow this diet, this is when my life is gonna be beautiful, everything's gonna fall into place, I'm gonna look sexier, I'm gonna look more beautiful, I'm gonna like deep inside, when you go, like when you peel the layers, there's always a desire beneath losing the weight, which is maybe attracting a loving partner, or maybe feeling happier, or maybe feeling in peace, or feeling comfortable in your own skin. But we don't have to search for this outside of ourselves. It's already within.
I'm just going to ask, so your book, anyone who reads it will understand these key elements of finding love, understanding your worth, and understanding that you are beautiful. It doesn't matter what size you are, it doesn't matter how tall you are, it doesn't matter what complexion you are either, but you are beautiful. And I think this is one main reason why I want people to buy your book, because anyone who reads your book will find that passion in within themselves, and you find that awakening, and you find your own inner goddess in there. But you're also a veggie chef. And I was like, whoa, veggie chef. How does that, a clinical psychologist, but also you have a passion for food, but not just food. Veggie chef. Why did you think to go in that line?
So I talk about this also in my book. Through my journey, I was trying to find myself. I was trying, and at the beginning, I told you, I could never diet in my life. Like I could never eat like small portions. Unlike my other friends back in Lebanon, who could stick to a diet, I really had a love for food that I could never stick to one diet. So I was in the beginning of my journey, I was trying to find what's the better way, for me to eat. And at a certain time of my life, I became vegan. So, and I've always thrived more on plant-based diet since I was a little child. Like I still remember my mom, she used to follow me in the building. I used to run away from her because she wanted to feed me meat, and I never liked it. That's just a preference that I had since I was a child. But through my journey, I was trying to explore with different way of eating. And this is when I found my passion for food and making food and using plants to make food in the most beautiful way. I'm not that strict anymore. I eat mostly plant-based nowadays, but through my journey, I learned to create plant-based food in a beautiful way. And I studied with Matthew Kenny, a culinary in Los Angeles. And I also found out that food is more than just adding ingredients together. It's more about your energy also. And I talk about this in the book, because in the book, it's called The Awakened Goddess Detox. I really focus on the idea that a detox is not only a food detox. So this is not a usual detox. Of course, you're gonna find in the book a section that's going to be recipes and 7-day detox. I walk you through breakfast, lunch, and dinner, beautiful and very delicious food with positive affirmations for each day. But the first section of the book, I really talk about how our body is always listening to us. What are we saying to ourselves? So you can eat the broccoli, all the broccoli you want, and all the salads you want, and all the chia seeds, and all the superfoods. But if your mind, if your thoughts keep on telling you that you're never gonna lose the weight, you're never gonna be healthy, you're never gonna do this and that, your cells are listening. So our cells, they don't only interact with us only regarding the food we're eating. There's another kind of food that we're giving our body, which is our thoughts. And nowadays, there's a lot of confusion around food. There are many experts, many diets, Some expert will tell you gluten is not good for you. Other expert will tell you, no, do not cut the grains. Grains are amazing. Nightshades like tomatoes, eggplants, oh, these are like the evil. Like, don't even think about touching them. So we became confused about the very substance that is created to nourish us and to give us pleasure. So the body's confused now. Even if you're eating healthy, there's an information in your head. Oh, but that expert said this is, if you eat it, it will create inflammation, right? And that dialogue is like happening inside our mind. Maybe not for everybody, but for a big portion of people. And when you create that confusion in your body, sometimes you are doing the right thing, you are eating the right food, you are following everything by the book. And I have a lot of women who come to me, they have done everything correctly by the book and they're not losing the weight because we have created a split inside our body. Our mind is saying something, our behavior is something else, what we hear from other people is something else. There's a lot of confusion. So in this book, I teach people how to prime their body because the body is already confused. So we want to talk to our body. We want to trust our body. We have this beautiful and complex body that God gave us. And it's so intelligent. It's so smart. We need to trust it more.
Yeah, I think that's where you talked about the healthy meal, which helps you express love to ourselves. So by eating healthy, you're able to express that love. I think that's what you were trying to allude to, isn't it?
Yes, and by healthy, like the perspective that I use in my book to label things as healthy or less healthy this is how I call like the food that I eat. Is it a high vibrational food or is it a low vibrational food? So I don't really like to talk, oh, this is healthy, this is not healthy. The closer you are to nature, so the closer you are like to eating food that comes from nature, which we are part of, right? We are part of nature, even if we live in buildings now. When God created us, we were part of nature. We used to live in nature and sleep in nature and eat from nature. So the more you eat closer to nature, the more you're eating high vibrational food that has like a high positive, beautiful energy because that comes from nature. And the more you eat from the box, imagine yourself eating from a box all the time. That's the low vibrational food. I think this way is a little bit less judgmental than saying, oh, this is a good food, this is a bad food. I think our body knows how to deal with all the food because it's so smart and it's so powerful, and it does a lot of things that we don't even interfere in, like, pumping our blood and breathing and, creating cells every day. So it is really smart, but we can support our body and this is an act of self-love when you support your body and you give it high vibrational food most of the time.
Yeah.
Most of it.
Absolutely. I like your quotes, and you use it everywhere. I think you see also on your Instagram page, you said you're on a worldwide mission to empower women to love themselves unconditionally through healing their relationship with food and other healthy rituals. I love that. I said, I love when women step out there and say they are on this mission. So I'm not just helping myself because I know, but I'm also out there on this mission. So how are you achieving this? How is this going?
So first, when you lead by example, this is how you inspire the people around you. This is how I inspire my daughter. You don't have to really say what to do. You don't have to really tell people, oh, do this, don't do that. And people don't like that usually. They don't like being told what to do. So your energy will speak for you. So the people who are around you, my daughters, my friends, my sisters, my daughter's daughters in the future, this is how you inspire others in loving themselves. And I also do it through my clients whom I work with. I try to reconnect them to their inner goddess because we all have that inner goddess inside of us that has been, put to sleep for a long time. So we are born with her. If you can remember yourself now, like if I can invite you all to close your eyes and remember yourself when you were a little girl and you were like so happy, you were playing, you had like no worries, you were like so joyful and so happy, maybe dancing barefoot, maybe being in nature, maybe playing in the mud, maybe dancing, singing, whatever you are doing. So this is your inner goddess. You don't really care what other people think of you. You don't think you are not beautiful.
No.
How many times have you seen kids kissing themselves in the mirror? Little kids.
Yeah.
They see their reflection in the mirror and they kiss it. So we are born naturally loving ourselves. And then later on, with education, and we are not blaming anyone here. Things are changing, and that's a beautiful thing. But with education, with maybe religion, with people who, like, we start attracting in our life who we allow not to treat us well, that goddess starts to shut down little by little by little. And this is when we start living as not worthy and living trying to compete with other women, because we feel like we always need to do something. We always need to do something about ourselves because we are not worthy, because there's a lack.
Absolutely. I love that.
So I really love to help those women reconnect to their inner goddess. And I share a lot of tools and practices in my book on how we can reconnect to that inner goddess. And it's always a way of pleasure and self-acceptance and slow living and really appreciating what we already have, because we all have a lot to appreciate.
So our final question, Natalie, I'm so glad that you took the time out to explain to us about self-love, about loving yourself through your diet and the food you eat, and also just finding your confidence. What does the human happiness, health, and wellness mean to you? You know, because I see you talk about human happiness, the health and wellness. So it must mean so much to you. So on a final note, what message would you give about that?
Okay, I used to live my life thinking that happiness is always a couple of steps away or many steps away. Like once I graduate, or once I have this diploma, or once I have this job, have more money, have a better body, have a better car, I will be happier. And you know something, that's very tricky, because there's always something better than what you have. Even if you have the best thing in the world, there's always something better. So we have been conditioned to believe that happiness is conditioned. Like you need to do something to have something, to reach a goal, to improve yourself, to work on yourself as if you're not enough, to do this, to do that, to acquire more money, to acquire more fortune, to do so many things in order to be happy, so you can earn that happiness. And happiness is not earned. Happiness is something you are born with. Just look at kids. Before we mess up their mind and their emotions, they are happy beings. They play with a stick for hours and they're happy with it. So happiness is something that is really inside of us. And once we can practice, because it's going to take some practice now to unlearn all the conditioning that we already learned. Once we start practicing just being happy for the sake of being happy. And this is going to sound weird maybe, and maybe so simplistic, but it's a practice. And once you start practicing it, you're going to feel it. Just being happy for the sake of being happy. And how can we do that? By being in a state of appreciation, gratitude. Gratitude is the key for everything. Appreciating every moment, like the moment that we're having, me and you right now, is a very special moment. Treating every moment that we consider ordinary as not ordinary. Nothing is ordinary. When I wake up in the morning, I trained myself, because again, it's a practice. We have lost. I trained myself to, the first thing when I open my eyes, I say, I appreciate another day on earth. Absolutely. I am so grateful I got to live another day. I am being given this gift of having another day on earth. So when you start living from that state of appreciation of everything, not only the things that you have, oh, I have a laptop, I have a car, these things, they can be taken away from you, right? We cannot control what's happening outside of us, but appreciate all that is. The flowers outside, the trees, the sun, our eyelids, they allow us to open and close our eyes, our hands, our muscles. Today I was working out and then I strained a muscle. And I was in a lot of pain, like talking about pain today, like the theme of your videos.
Mm.
It made me appreciate how much those muscles are doing for me every single day. So these are things that we take for granted. Once we start living in that state of appreciation, that sacred space where we appreciate every single thing in our life, we become happy. We stop comparing ourselves to others. We stop waiting for things to happen, external things to happen to make us happy. We already have a lot to be happy about. No matter who we are, where we live, what are our conditions, we still have a lot to appreciate, and this is going to give us a lot of happiness. And happiness is going to attract more happiness to you. So the more happy you are, the more you're going to attract happy things into your life, and vice versa.
Yeah, and it's so true. It's such an important thing that we just forget about it. We don't realize that just waking up each morning is a blessing. It's a blessing in itself, and we take it for granted. But I love that you ended it with this message, because that is such an important word that we need to always carry that out. Gratitude, appreciation, thankfulness.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to have this amazing conversation with yourself, because I think anyone who listens will have to even run to get your book, because you have just talked so openly, but not just about your own journey, but also about your own journey of learning through your own, being a mother, being a woman, being a person who's lived in Lebanon and lived in the United States, and your different journey and different aspect of life. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for this time of talking to me. And I wish you well with the book, and I can't wait to finish reading it myself. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, for your questions, very inspiring. Thank you for everything and for allowing me to be here and to talk to your audience. I'm really, really grateful for that. And please keep in touch. You can reach me on Instagram at Nathalie Seder, and my book is available on Amazon and anywhere online where you can buy books.
And the name
I can't wait for the feedback.
And tell the audience the name of your book again so they can go get it. The name of your book. What is the name of your book, Natalie?
The Awakened Goddess Detox. And I can show you. That's the book.
You heard it, guys. The Awakened Goddess Detox. Go get your copy. Thank you so much.
Coffee table book, and it has a lot of beautiful imagery inside for food. If you allow me to show a little bit.
I love that. Lots of wow. Oh wow.
Yeah, I think people that they are drawn to delicious and beautiful food.
Oh wow. This is amazing, guys. Go get your copy. It's an amazing book. You learn to eat well, eat healthy, and also find your love through food. Thank you so much, Natalie. We'll speak to you soon.